This is Montego Bradley from Fans of Patrol, and you're listening to the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Broadcasting very fast and very dangerous from the planet Malastare. You are listening to So Wizard.
You're thinking people gonna die?
The only podcast to make the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs.
There'll be no one to stop us this time.
What's going on, everybody? It is time for episode number 253 of the So Wizard podcast. I'm your host, Joey DiCarlo. My co-hosts are the queen of all nerds, Aubrey Litchfield.
Nacho fries are back at Taco Bell.
And you broke my radio voice, sorry. And the expert, Mr. Marquis Marcellus Reagan.
There's always a speech, Charles. No one cares.
Well, they got part of that right. You are listening to So Wizard Podcast. Three friends discuss the world of nerd, podcasting weekly on the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. This week, we're going to talk some nerdy news, and then it's time to jump into a review of the final movie in the Fox X-Men cinematic universe, Dark Phoenix.
I don't
think
that's right.
Oh, Dark Phoenix.
Phonix.
Before we get into all of that, how is everyone doing this week? Mark Ellis, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. I don't have a lot to report this week. I did see a bunch of movies. Unfortunately, none of them are worth talking about. So,
at least give us the title.
Oh yeah, sure. I went to see Ma. Hey Ma. And I thought it was going to be good. It started out pretty good. Went downhill towards the third act, which
yikes.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with that one.
Should have seen Secret Life of Pets 2.
Yeah, I know. It was between the two, and I figured, I'll just check out Ma, because, I like Octavia Spencer, and I like the girl that was in Booksmart, who's like stars in it. I thought she was cool, so I'm like, I'll give it a shot. It was short. It didn't take a lot of time, but yeah, a good idea, just bad execution towards the end. So, disappointed. But that's all I've been doing, just watching movies.
That's okay. Sometimes we need a good, nice, easy week. Aubrey, what's going on with you?
Nothing much. Just working, going to school, and saw Secret Life of Pets 2.
How was that?
It actually wasn't that bad. I was surprised, though, because they swear at one point in it, and it's a kid's movie. They said somebody was pissed, and I was really surprised by it because I was like, huh.
Was it Harrison Ford? Did Harrison Ford say it?
No, which is shocking. I don't know. I don't know how well received that part's going to be because there is a swear word in it, and it's not really advertised that there is, and it's a kids' movie, so people are bringing their really little kids there, and they, granted, pissed isn't the worst swear in the world, but still, it's a kids' movie.
I'm sure Noah's heard much worse at home.
Is that true?
100%. 100%. He's heard. What was he was saying once? Every time something would happen, he'd go, "Jesus Christ!" Like, Noah, we're in a very religious area. Maybe you shouldn't say that. It'd be much different if we were back in Massachusetts, but we're here in Virginia, where people go to church.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I told Colin if he wants to watch the Angry Video Game Nerd, it's fine, but he can't use any of the language from the video.
My mom used to have a deal with me and my brother where we could swear at home, but we couldn't swear outside of the house. And I feel as though that's going to be a deal I have to make with Noah because I can't seem to filter my language.
You're too used to hanging around with us, I think, is the problem.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I have not been doing much, but I did watch a bunch of E3 coverage with my son the last couple days. So that's been fun watching live streams of the conferences from the video game conference on YouTube on the TV. So the big one was Xbox we watched yesterday. So.
Well, I didn't even know that was going on.
Yeah. They had Jedi Fallen Order gameplay, which looks freaking awesome. And Forrest Whitaker is back as the voice of Saw Gerrera.
Oh, nice.
And the big reveal for Cyberpunk 2077 was Keanu Reeves is in the game.
Yeah, well, if you have a title named Cyberpunk, he's probably going to be like the go-to guy. If you're going to get
they didn't even pay him. He just showed up randomly one day.
Someone said Cyberpunk 3 times and he walked through the door.
That's right.
I'm here.
This is my calling.
But that's been it. There's some exciting, cool games looking to come out, and they announced a new Xbox system for 2020. So I guess that's going to be a lot of money.
Is it Xbox 2? Xbox 3?
Right now it's called Project Scarlet, but I'm sure they'll change the name. But it's supposed to be amazing. So outputs in 8K. So it's not going to be cheap.
That's what they all say.
That's right. That's what they tell all the guys. You know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's exciting. But other than that, that's that. That's us. Now let's talk about us. Marcellus, why don't you tell the listeners where they can find more So Wizard Podcast?
All right. So everybody can go to SoulWizardPodcast.com where you will find new episodes every week. You also find movie reviews from yours truly. You'll find Netflix and Amazon streaming picks from our buddy, the awesome Adam Mollyhawk. You'll also find our merchandise there. You can purchase some of our Soul Wizard t-shirts. Look good while you're representing the show. Another great way to support our show is by doing your Amazon shopping right through the link that we keep on right on the website. There's an Amazon logo. Click on that logo, go to Amazon, do your shopping, and that way you'll be helping out our little podcast. You can also find our social media links there. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review while you are there. You can also find us on a Stitcher Radio app for your tablet or smartphone, Podbean, Google Play Music, and you can also stream our show through Spotify and through Podcoin, where you can earn money for listening to our show. You can also support us through Patreon, small monetary donation, and you receive extra content from Soul Wizard. We also have a YouTube page that you can also check out our videos that we have on there too. Shout out to all of our podcasting buddies all over the world. Back to you, Joey.
That's not fair, Arian. I hate you.
All right, let's get into the news. Let's see what's going on in the world of nerd this week.
Yo, pump it up. It's time for the news. Yo, we getting ready to bring you the news, boy.
All right, Marcellus, what do you got? Lay it on us.
All right, so we have a date for the upcoming Tom Holland starring action film Uncharted. Speaking of video games, we talked about this before, but now it looks like Sony actually has a date for the movie. It's coming out December 18th, 2020, so that's next year. I believe that the director isn't someone that has done a lot of other movies. I think this might be one of his first ones. But now that they have a date in mind, it looks like this is actually going to happen. What do you guys think of Tom Holland in Uncharted coming out next year for Christmas time? Let's start with Joey.
I guess there's no Avatar or Star Wars next Christmas, huh?
Exactly. I thought for sure there was a Star Wars movie coming out next year, but apparently not.
Let's see. I like Tom Holland a lot as Spider-Man. I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but I do like him, and I love Uncharted. I think there's a cool storyline for a movie there. I don't know if I want Tom Holland in Uncharted. It seems like even though he's like in his 20s, I think of him as being like 15.
Right.
I don't know if that's because of Spider-Man or what, but like, I don't know. So I can't visualize him as Nathan Drake. I just can't unless it's going to be Uncharted the high school years. So I want to see a trailer or something else before I get too excited about this. And it's a video game movie, so right off the bat, you're like, oh God, here we go. You know. What's even been the last good video game? Well, Detective Pikachu, I guess, was technically a video game movie, right?
Yeah.
I guess technically, because it was a video game, Detective Pikachu.
Right. And Pikachu and Pokemon are video game characters, so.
Yeah.
But if I picked up the video game, will I get to play as Justice Smith or Ryan Reynolds?
I think you just play as Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, see, so I don't know if that movie kind of counts.
It's close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
All right. Well, it was no Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Or Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
All right, Aubrey, what about you? How do you feel about Tom Holland as Nathan Drake coming out next year?
This is the stupidest idea anybody's ever had. There's no reason for this to even exist because Indiana Jones has already been made. so I don't really see a point in having an Uncharted movie. And Tom Holland as Nathan Drake doesn't really make sense either, because he's just kind of like a goofy kid-like character, and Nathan Drake isn't really like that. So I don't see this being good. I don't see it making money. I think it's going to be stupid and a waste of time.
Wow. I do know Tom Holland has another movie that's supposed to be coming out this year of him and someone else. I can't remember the name of them in the jungle. And that movie got like horrible reviews. Like it was screened and someone said it was unwatchable. And I can't remember what the hell it was, but I think it was supposed to be coming out this summer. So yeah, Arbor, you might be right. He might not have proven his salt yet as far as being a leading man in anything other than Spider-Man. But I think it's good that they get the young Nathan Drake movie out of the way now, instead of them doing like a video game accurate version and then doing the prequel down the road. You know what I mean? I think it's fine. All right. So then in other news, there was a Ghostbusters kind of convention that happened recently. Ivan Reitman and Jason Reitman was there. Jason Reitman, of course, is going to be directing the next Ghostbusters movie. And he kind of let it slip that the original cast members were going to be coming back. Sigourney Weaver already kind of confirmed that her character is coming back in the sequel. But he kind of let it slip that all the other actors are most likely going to be returning. Now, I know we've already been down this road before with the other Ghostbusters movie. Having the original Ghostbusters doesn't really qualify this movie to be any good. But the fact that Jason Reitman is directing it, the fact that he has a clear idea of what the story is going to be, and he's going to get these characters back as the original characters, get these actors back as the original characters, I think is an amazing sign for the progress of this movie. I'm getting more excited for it. What do you guys think of the original cast members coming back for this Ghostbusters reboot? Let's start with Aubrey.
It's cool. I mean, I'm happy to see Sigourney Weaver. I think she's fantastic. I don't know. It's cool. I hope it's good.
What about you, Joey?
Much like last week when we talked about Terminator and The Predator and other alien covered in shit in other movies in these franchises. When was the last time there was a good Ghostbusters movie?
It's fine. It's a good idea. It's like the ingredients are there. They just haven't baked the right cake yet.
I was 7 when the last time there was a good Ghostbusters movie. So I don't think there's much of a hill to die on, especially after Ghostbusters: Answer the Call came out and took a giant steaming dump on whatever nostalgia was left for this franchise. Fine. It's great. It can't be worse than the last one. So I think that unfortunately like we said, we talked about this a little earlier, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't remember. I feel like they shot their load, not to be gross, but I feel like they blew their load for some of this stuff with the 2016 movie.
Yeah.
Like the excitement of seeing, Dan Aykroyd back on the screen in a Ghostbusters movie. It's gone. Like they did talk show rounds with the original cast. Like they did all this stuff and it still didn't work. So I don't know. I'm interested in what this movie's going to be. I've read a leaked plot description on shady websites that I visit, and I wasn't too impressed. So,
it is. Did those leaks talk about it being a kid, like a main kid as the Ghostbuster? Is that Ghostbuster?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
It sounded more like Goosebumps than Ghostbusters.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, that seems to be the current direction that it's going in. That is going to be about a family, or at least the main antagonist is going to be like a small girl that's going to be carrying a proton pack. So, whatever the story is, I'm down for it because I like Jason Reitman a lot. I think he's a really good director, and I really want to see what he does with this franchise, especially after the last one. I just hope
it's good. I just hope it's good, or at least watchable. If it's even a 2.5 or 3 out of 5, that would be an improvement. So.
All right. So speaking of Bill Murray remakes, it looks like we're going to be getting a remake to not necessarily a movie that Bill Murray kind of coined, but another adaptation of A Christmas Carol. This one is going to be supposedly a remake of Scrooge starring Kevin Hart. Now we've had, God, I don't know, 100 different versions of A Christmas Carol. So another one isn't really going to do anything. I don't think it's going to make that big of a dent. But if they're specifically going to remake Scrooge, I think it's fine. I think it's kind of cool that another band does a cover of a song in a completely different context. I think that's cool. So Kevin Hart hasn't actually been delivering as far as the box office goes recently, but I think this might be a good family film that he could gain some of his credentials back. I don't know. I think it might be cool. Joy, what do you think about a Scrooge remake with Kevin Hart?
Not like this Matrix.gif. This is like the worst news I've heard all day.
Really?
I love the original Scrooged movie. Aubrey, have you ever seen Scrooged?
I haven't, no.
Oh, God, no.
It's classic.
What do you say to Aubrey when she hasn't seen Scrooged?
You just made the list!
Yeah, I love it. Me and Jen watch it usually every Christmas season, not on Christmas, because that's our family tradition of watching Die Hard. But at some point during Christmas time, we're both home and sitting in front of the TV. We will watch Scrooged, and it's fantastic. And it is a lot like Ghostbusters. I feel like that movie is not a Christmas Carol, because how many fucking Christmas Carol adaptations there have been? Like, who cares? But to specifically try to remake that movie with just like more or less lightning in a bottle with Bill Murray gone wild. I like Kevin Hart. I just don't think he can do that. So
yeah. All right, Aubrey, what about you? You've never seen the original Scrooge. Was that something that you just missed completely?
Did you even know it existed?
I did not. I don't know anything about it. I don't think I've ever seen it. So.
All right, so this would be a perfect movie for Aubrey because she hasn't seen it. Aubrey, do you like Kevin Hart?
I do.
See?
Yeah, I think he's really funny.
There you go.
Sometimes he could be a little bit over dramatic, but for the most part, I like his stand-up. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So to all of the people asking, why is there a remake of Scrooge coming? It's for Aubrey.
Yeah, it's all Aubrey's fault.
I wouldn't say fault. I would say it's for people who are around Aubrey's age who didn't grow up with the original classic one. And there hasn't been at least not that I could think of. I don't think there's been like a big Christmas Carol kind of remix done in a while. Maybe Matthew McConaughey and the girlfriends of past or whatever.
The last even remotely big, and I caution using the word big, like Christmas movie was the Kurt Russell Santa Claus movie on Netflix. It was the last time I can remember there being a Christmas movie that everybody seemed to either watch or was aware of at least.
Mm-hmm.
The one with Matthew McConaughey actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad. Was that the one? Was Jennifer Garner in that one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that one wasn't that bad.
I like watching it when it's on and there's nothing else to watch.
And you can't find a remote.
Yeah, I don't.
Aubrey has a list on my phone of movies like 30 deep, but she's like, and there's just nothing around to watch.
I told you my idea. I was going to watch them and record my reaction on our YouTube channel, but I can't exactly stream the video at the same time because then that runs into copyright issues.
No, but you could just record yourself watching it and then edit it.
I could.
It will be Aubrey watching. It's like starting a movie and then like 5 minutes of her sleeping. And then the end of the movie, Aubrey wakes up. That's it.
Exactly.
People have put weirder stuff on YouTube. So.
All right. So then, we have a new addition to the Fast and the Furious franchise. I know everyone was worried about what was going to happen to the franchise now that The Rock and Jason Statham, obviously two of the biggest badasses in that whole series, is getting their own movie. We've all read the reports of The Rock and Vin Diesel kind of not exactly getting along in the last film. But for Fast and the Furious 9, we have some new beefcake showing up on the scene. John Cena will be, quote unquote, a badass in Fast and the Furious 9. They don't say if he's a good guy, don't say if he's a bad guy, just he's a badass. For some reason, I think this fits perfectly. I don't even know why this is why it took so long for this to happen, but it makes perfect sense to me. I'm psyched for it. Aubrey, how do you feel about John Cena joining the Fast and the Furious franchise?
I couldn't give a shit, even if I tried.
I thought you liked John Cena.
He's okay, but I don't watch Fast and Furious at all.
Oh, that's right. You haven't watched any of them, right?
Nope.
Oh.
I'm sure I've seen one, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, well, 5 and on is where the story gets good. You don't really need to see the other ones.
Is there a story, though?
There actually is, believe it or not. It's one of the most incredibly constructed storylines I've ever seen in movies. And I'm not saying that as a joke. I was literally stunned in Fast and Furious 6 how the screenwriter managed to tie all of those storylines together. It's amazing. Isn't it?
If you say it's a good story, Mark, I will watch it.
I would say just watch 5. And if you like that one, then you can watch the rest of them.
Okay. I'll start there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's putting a lot of pressure on Mark now.
Joey, what about you, dude? How do you feel about Cena coming to the Fast and the Furious franchise?
Yeah, that's fine. I liked him in Bumblebee.
Yep.
And Fast and Furious movies are big, dumb, goofy action movies.
Right? Doesn't it seem like he would just fit perfectly in there?
It does. It does. And then eventually we'll cross back over with Hobbs and Shaw. And maybe somebody will finally realize that Shaw killed the guy from Tokyo Drift. So we shouldn't be hanging out with him. But I don't know if anyone will talk about that. Ooh, sorry, Aubrey. Spoiler.
I don't care.
Yeah,
she wasn't going back that far anyway. It was only 5 and onward. So.
Yep, exactly.
Probably not.
But yeah, that's fine. As long as there's crazy explosions and absolutely ridiculous shit like people fighting a submarine with a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
I think I'll be okay. Yeah. I think it'll make like $800 million in China before we even get started. So.
Yeah, I'm psyched to see him and Vin Diesel go ahead. I think that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so then speaking of Fast and the Furious, one of the stars of Fast and the Furious, Gal Gadot, is in a new movie, Wonder Woman, and we got our first look at the posters that are starting to advertise the movie that's coming out next year. It's bright, it's colorful, it looks completely different than anything from the Snyderverse. What did you guys think of the Wonder Woman poster, Joey?
I thought it was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked really try hard and like it was desperately trying to look like Flash Gordon or Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it did nothing for me to sell me on what's going on in this movie, like other than it takes place in 1984.
Yeah.
So
you didn't think her new armor looked pretty cool?
I guess it looked like Barbarella.
All right.
No, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. We'll see. Maybe the movie will be better.
All right. Aubrey, what about you? What'd you think of that very brightly colored poster?
I liked it. Because
Nice.
I like Thor Ragnarok.
And you like Wonder Woman too, right?
I do, yeah. I liked the first one, and I know Joey has quoted, or not, and I know Joey has said on our Twitter that it was overrated. So I saw that. But I do not think so. It is my favorite DC movie. It's so good.
Favorite
The
DC
action
movie
scenes-
is not a high bar to clear, though, to be fair.
But the action scenes in that movie are fucking phenomenal. I love them. So I liked it.
You know, Joy, I never made that Flash Gordon connection. That would kind of make sense. It's 84 and brightly colored. That kind of makes sense that they would be aiming for that Flash Gordon look. So, yeah, now that you've said that, I'm even more excited for it. But the other thing about Warner Brothers is that they are not doing anything at San Diego Comic-Con this year, which is really surprising. Usually they have like they do like a whole panel, like I think on like Saturday mornings, is when they usually do it, and they scroll out like artwork from the upcoming movies and make the announcements of, like, I distinctly remember when they announced Batman v Superman and the kind of ripple effect that caused through the scene. But this year, Warner Brothers is like, they're not doing San Diego Comic-Con at all, which is really surprising.
Doing a panel for It Chapter 2, and that's it.
Wow. So do you think that this is going to help their upcoming movies, or do you think this might kind of hurt it a little bit, Joey?
The buzz you get from a positive experience for people at San Diego Comic-Con is huge. So I don't understand what they're doing. Even if they were just going to show some concept art or something, or maybe a trailer for a new trailer for Joker and maybe some footage from Birds of Prey. Yeah. I don't understand why they're not going. It doesn't make any sense to me. You don't have to spend Marvel money and trot out like Tom Hiddleston dressed as Loki. You could just go up on stage and show some cool stuff. It doesn't have to be super ultra crazy, but it's definitely worth it for the buzz if what you have is worth showing. Maybe they just don't have anything if they don't have like a cut trailer or really finished footage for Wonder Woman yet, it's like really special effected, I guess.
Sure.
Or, they don't have really anything. If they don't have anything put together sizzle reel wise for either of these movies, and then there's a rumor that they're not going to release a second trailer for Joker at all. So they just don't have anything to show, and it's not worth showing up. So
yeah, I guess I can kind of see that. It does cost a lot of money to put all of that together, but still, it's weird to be a movie studio that has at least 3 comic book movies in the pipeline and not appear at San Diego Comic-Con. It just seems
that's
odd.
why I said, like, I wonder if they're thinking they have to put on a production on the level of what Marvel does every year, which is backed by Disney. Not that Warner Brothers is hurting for money, but if they're thinking of the sunk cost, I don't think it costs much to send somebody there to talk about it a little bit and show trailers or sizzle reels. I mean, you're basically playing footage off of YouTube. It's not that big a deal. Like, it doesn't have to be this big production, but I guess they just don't want to do it. So.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Aubrey, how do you feel about there not being any Warner Brothers DC stuff coming out of San Diego this year?
Sony isn't even doing a presentation at E3 this year, so I don't know. Maybe they just don't have anything crazy to show yet, or maybe they're waiting and just showing it later on to create a bigger hype. I don't know.
Interesting. Strange things in a world of nerds.
Well, Marvel will be there, and they're going to supposedly have some big, huge announcements. So
oh, yeah.
There's plenty to talk about.
They're just going to run the complete gamut and tell everyone what's going on through Marvel. So, speaking of Warner Brothers DC...
Gotta warn a brother.
The Swamp Thing TV show that they have been hyping for so long on their streaming network is canceled after the first episode. They had to cut back on season 1 from 13 episodes to 10 episodes. And then they aired the first episode and said, all right, we're canceling it. It's done. I don't have the streaming app, so I haven't watched any of the show at all. I haven't seen any footage at all, but the reviews for the first episode were pretty good. So this is strange to me. What do you guys think of the Swamp Thing being canceled after the first episode, Aubrey?
I'm not surprised. Where's the shock? I got none.
All right, Joey, what about you?
It's really weird. I know we had talked, I don't know if we talked about it in the show, but they had been speaking online. There were rumors swirling about the Universe app ending or getting rolled into a full Warner Brother app.
Yep.
And then there were also people that said, like, they filmed this in North Carolina and they were supposed to get a $40 million tax credit.
Right.
And then they didn't get it.
Right.
So they dropped $80 million on this series and they were expecting to get reimbursed for half of that. And they didn't get reimbursed. They were like, fuck this shit. Cut the episode order and canceled it immediately so they don't have to make any more seasons. But the weird thing is that I've heard huge positive buzz on it. Everybody I know that has the app or is in the comics and stuff that's watched it thinks it's freaking awesome. And not in a like, this person's opinion sucks like sort of way.
Yeah.
Like people I actually, not that I care what people think, but the people that I actually would like listen to what they have to say about stuff. So I've heard nothing but good stuff about it. So maybe there's just not enough people that have the app to start, and then if all those people don't watch it, so I would assume everybody that has the app like watches Titans. That's why it's still successful.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe everybody that watches the app, if only there's a small amount of people, and then only half of those watch the first episode of Swamp Thing. They were just like, "Fuck this shit," and they cancel.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. It'd be very kind of messed up if they actually did produce this show and it gets critically acclaimed, and people are like interested in it, and then they just snip it. It might turn into a cult classic where somewhere down the road, people will demand it comes back.
Well, it also kind of cuts the show off at the legs, too, because now they're not released. It's not like it all came out on the first day. It's weekly.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, why bother?
Right.
It's you're never going to get season. First of all, they cut 3 episodes off the end. So who knows what the hell the end of the season's going to be like. It could be complete ass. And then if it ends on a cliffhanger, you're not getting any more. So why even bother getting invested?
Yeah.
Especially when it's weekly and you can't just sit down and just like, oh, I'm bored, I'll bang out like 5 episodes today. Like, you can't.
Yeah, because if they put it all out all together, someone would be able to be like, oh, I watched the entire first season of Swamp Thing and it's great. And then other people would be drawn to that.
Right.
Man, Warner Brothers DC, man, they're having a tough time. All right. So then speaking of TV shows from the past, that might get a new life. It looks like the original creators of the X-Men cartoon, now that Fox is being folded into Disney, have approached Disney about bringing back the original 90s cartoon and setting up a continuation of that. I have never watched any of those cartoons at all. I know they're supposed to be good. I haven't seen it. But I think that Disney, being the animation experts, having an X-Men cartoon that continues on and it's with the people that created the original show sounds like a no-brainer. If I'm Disney, I'm like, yes, that's a great idea. People love that cartoon. Let's get right on it. What do you guys think of the 90s X-Men cartoon coming back, Joey?
Fuck yeah, bro. All over my face. Let's do it right now. I loved that show.
You watched the whole thing?
Yeah. I loved that show. I used to videotape it.
Oh my God.
Not to age myself, but I used to record it on a VCR and watch it throughout the week too, if I missed it or if I wanted to just watch it again. I had like probably the first like 2.5 seasons on VHS tape that I recorded off TV.
Wow.
Wish I still had those and all the commercials and everything. But yeah, that was huge. That was such a big deal back in the day when that came out, because there wasn't a lot of cool stuff like that like there is now. So like it was so good. And it's probably not good. I bet if I went back and started watching it, it would be like painful to sit through. But at the time, it was perfect. And I really hope that when Marvel eventually reboots the film series, they use the theme song for this, like they have been with Spider-Man. So.
Oh, yeah. All right. Aubrey, what about you? Were you familiar with the X-Men cartoon from the 90s?
That is one of the ways that I actually got into the X-Men. So how Joey feels about Spider-Man is pretty much how I feel about X-Men. And so me and my brother watched X-Men all the time. Every time it was on, we were watching it. We were going to get comics to read all about it there too. And so I'd be pretty excited to see it be rebooted.
Nice. I have no connection to the X-Men cartoon whatsoever. So sounds like a good idea. I know a lot of people have a lot of love for it.
It was on a streaming app at one point. I can't remember whether it was Netflix.
It was on Netflix for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. So, so that's it. That's all I got for the news for this week.
All right. Well, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk all about Dark Phoenix.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you're having fun listening to this episode of So Wizard Podcast. But did you know you can actually get paid just for listening to us? I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. We've just discovered a new app called Podcoin, and it literally pays you to listen to podcasts. Here's how it works. You listen to the podcast you love, and you earn Podcoin while you listen. Then you turn that Podcoin in for gift cards at places like Amazon or Starbucks, or if, unlike me, you're a good person, you could actually donate it to charity. The more you listen, the more you earn. Here's what you got to do. Download the free app right now on your iPhone or Android device. And I've got a special code for you. Simply use our code, WIZARD, when you sign up, and you'll get 300 Podcoin just to start off. If you listen to enough of us on there, you can get a drink at Starbucks or an Amazon gift card, and it's like I gave it to you. So go ahead, go listen to this podcast or any of your other favorite shows on Podcoin and sign up with the code WIZARD. It'll change the way you listen to podcasts.
And we're back. So now it's time to review Dark Phoenix. We all had a chance to see it. We'll start off with some non-spoiler impressions, and we'll jump into spoiling the movie. Mark will play a sound drop letting you know when that happens. So in case you haven't seen it yet, and judging by the box office, some of you probably haven't, you can definitely tune in later or just keep listening and get spoiled. So what did we think of Dark Phoenix? Mark Hellis.
Yeah, Sophie Turner is hot. I had no idea. I've watched a few episodes of Game of Thrones, but I'm watching this. I'm like, holy shit.
As many shots as possible of her laying down in tight shirts as humanly possible, please. I want that cinematic universe. Give me the Sophie Turner in tight white shirts cinematic universe, please.
But in all seriously, I enjoyed most of it. It's not. I was expecting a complete disaster, and it wasn't. It wasn't a complete disaster.
All right. What about you, Aubrey?
I I like the pieces that they took from the comics, but and I love X-Men, so I get really excited about any X-Men movie that comes out. I really do.
Even X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I even like that because I love X-Men, but I feel a little sad about this movie.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way.
It just I feel like it fell short, and it was disappointing.
Okay. I pretty much hated this movie.
Really?
It was just boring, and it's just so long. It felt like I was in the movie theater for 7 or 8 days. I checked my phone like 4 or 5 times to see what time it was, and it was like, oh, it's only been 30 minutes. Oh. Yeah. But yeah, Sophie Turner's hot. Yeah. It definitely felt like an X-Men movie. I guess it's the best I could say, for better or worse. It was truly a sequel to X-Men Apocalypse.
Wow.
Put it that way. I don't know if there's anything else we could say without spoiling it. So, Mark, why don't you drop the spoiler drop and we'll get into it.
Spoiler alert! I have seen the future and I had to prevent it.
All right. Well, why don't we start with things we liked? Aubrey, you seem to be a little down on the movie like me. So what were things you liked about it?
I liked how they followed the origin of Phoenix, which is a little bit... It didn't coincide with Apocalypse because they showed Jean kind of having that power, but she gains the power in this movie. So there was some issues there with consistency, but I did like how they stuck to the comic book origin of Phoenix, how she is blasted with the solar flare and everything like that. That was really cool. I love Phoenix as a character, so I was really excited to see her. I was excited to see the character flaw in Charles Xavier because that seems pretty consistent throughout the comics and the show and everything. He really does believe he's doing the best for people, and it always blows up in his face. So I loved seeing that part. I loved seeing X-Men in the movie again. So yeah.
All right. What about you, Marcellus?
I love the costumes in the beginning. I thought those looked pretty cool. I really liked the performances from James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. And Nicholas Hoult as Beast. He actually was able to elicit some emotions through that blue furry makeup. I was like, holy shit, this kid actually is really good. And again, Sophie Turner. She's hot, and she's actually delivered because Jean Grey had to go through different types of emotions in the same scene, and I thought she did a really good job going through those things. I bought into it. I actually believed it. Yeah, and I like the end of the movie, the finale. I like that scene. I like the correspondence between her being a little girl in a car crash, and a car, being destroyed, and her kind of psychic powers protecting herself, versus her being in a train crash, and her psychic powers are used to protect her family. That I thought was pretty cool. It was a nice juxtaposition between the two. But other than that, I did have some issues. But those are the things that I really, really liked about it.
All right. Let's see. What did I like about the movie? Okay, so...
the credits.
No. See... Part of the disappointment for me with this movie was I wanted it to either be a colossal train wreck, like The Room of superhero movies, or to surprise me and be like good. And for the most part, it was just middling to decent.
Yeah.
Which isn't fun at all. It was just so there and blah. But, I did really like how they showed her powers and how she used them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that looked really cool. I loved when she would just fly straight up in the air and was gone.
I love that. I thought that was really cool. They didn't make a big deal out of it. She was just like, poof, gone.
And I loved, just the way she used her powers and the things she did with them when Quicksilver is attacking her and she's just like, and he's out.
Yeah.
And of course, Quicksilver has to get sidelined immediately for the whole movie.
Yeah, because they only had him for like a few days to shoot, and he's like, we got to get rid of this actor. He's got other stuff to do.
So, I mean, that was fine. So, yeah, I mean, I like the way I really liked the train fight at the end of the movie.
Yep.
I think that was probably the best action sequence in the entire movie. I thought that was like that whole sequence like worked really well. I liked that a lot. I thought that was good. It was a good showcase for everybody's powers and stuff. It felt like it was from another movie, which it probably was because it was part of the reshoots. That's the completely reshot ending they did afterwards. So, I enjoyed the train battle, and obviously Sophie Turner's hot, and I like the way they showed her powers. But that was about it for me.
Yeah.
Now, what about things you didn't like, Marcellus? You're chomping at the bit. What do you got?
Oh God. One of the things that, and it's so funny, dude, because you have been saying it on the show for years now. The Dark Phoenix storyline only really works if you care about these characters.
Yes.
And I hated the fact that they introduced these characters in the beginning, and it's like, all right, we're going into space. Does anyone have any questions? And Cyclops is like, yeah, I have 1,000 questions. And they're like, whatever, shut up. So you don't really, I didn't feel anything for these characters. Like everything that I'm supposed to care about these characters, I should have got from the last movie. And I'll be honest with you, it's been a while since I've seen it. I don't really remember it too well. I couldn't really connect to them. So yeah, as they're going through all of this stuff, I felt no emotional connection to any of them at all. And that sucked because I really wanted to. I hated the alien storyline. I hated the fact that the solar flare was like heading towards Earth and the aliens were just kind of chilling there on the ship, just watching it. Like, what was their plan? The thing destroyed their planet. Were they going to bottle it? Were they just going to follow it all over the universe? Like, what was their plan? I didn't like the alien storyline, and I just didn't like how the whole thing ended. The very, very end. It was nice seeing Charles and Eric together again playing chess. That was cool. But then you look up and you see like a little fiery bird in the background. I'm like, so wait, so what? What? The script was a big disappointment for me. Huge disappointment. But yeah, that's what I really, really disliked about it. It was mainly the script of it.
Okay. Now, Aubrey, you are the resident huge X-Men fan, so there had to be some problems for you with this movie.
Yes. So I didn't like Mystique's storyline at all. I hated it. I've hated it from the beginning. Jennifer Lawrence obviously got sick of playing that character, and that's why they killed her off. I don't like that she was part of the X-Men for so long. Go join Magneto. So that was really frustrating for me. It was frustrating for me too that Quicksilver even exists when he was already in Marvel movies, but then they killed him off. That drives me fucking insane because now that they've merged, they're gonna have to figure out how to transition that character in. If they transition him at all, now they've got to kill him off. They've got a problem. They're probably going to reboot the series. I like Sophie Turner. I like Evan Peters. I like what's his face? I like the Magneto and Charles Xavier. I like those two characters. Everybody else, I don't really like. I find Storm to be fucking annoying. I find Cyclops to be fucking annoying. I think he's annoying in the comic books though too. Nightcrawler, I was mad that the police officer died. That was like, my kid used to be a fan. I was mad that he died because I feel like
he should have just threw himself out of the train as soon as he said that.
Yeah, I feel like Nightcrawler deserved the opportunity to redeem himself to that person. So it's really annoying to me. I liked the ending, how they were playing chess and everything, and then they show Dark Phoenix up in the sky because she does eventually come back. So I knew that was going to happen. I think my main problem is just that it was so disorganized and so discombobulated that it was frustrating. And it was frustrating. The aliens were frustrating. They could have done better. I liked the action scenes that they did have, but I don't really like the casting. I hate the casting, actually. I hate that Mystique died. Like, really early on, and I feel like that's all Jennifer Lawrence's fault, and I don't know if I can ever forgive her. And I just would have liked to see more. And I think when you get into the Phoenix Saga and everything, like, where is, what's her face? Emma Frost. Where is Emma Frost? Because she's got to come in soon, too. I thought for sure the chick with the fucking platinum hair was going to be Emma Frost, because she looks like she could be Emma Frost.
No, we already saw Emma Frost in the 60s.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They already showed her.
She's not going to be walking around in lingerie anymore.
There's no consistency in the timeline.
Nope, not at all.
I hate that. I hate it so much. There's absolutely no... Like, why does Jean Grey look like a teenager, but she killed her parents in, what, the 70s? And
yes.
now it's 1992?
Yep.
Or 94, whatever the fuck year it is. It's been 20 years. She doesn't look like a 28-year-old in that movie.
She does to me.
Don't forget, in the timeline, Michael Fassbender is going to become Ian McKellen in 8 years.
Right.
Yeah, like, I don't understand the timeline at all. It's frustrating.
They don't care. They don't care at all.
I hate that. I hate it.
Joey, what did you not like about it? Other than it being boring.
Yeah, I mean, I think... All right, just the main thing is that this, and you touched on it already, is that this storyline does not work when you don't care about the characters.
Yep.
So, as you know, we keep praising Sophie Turner for being hot, and she actually did a good job in the movie. She's doing her best, but you just don't give a shit. Like, there's nothing to give a shit about in this movie. You don't care. Anything that's happening, you don't care. It doesn't matter. Fucking Mystique dies. I didn't give a shit. Jennifer Lawrence, you can see her counting down the seconds until her contract is done while she's making the movie.
I don't think that's fair. People have been saying that for the past 3 X-Men movies. I don't think that's the case at all.
Maybe it's just the way. Maybe it's the way she's playing the character, but she does not seem like she wants to be there at all.
Yeah. I feel like her and Nicholas Hoult broke up, and she was like, "Nope, over it."
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, good for him, but I don't know. Like, and you know, their relationship, and we're supposed to care about that. Like, we don't care. Cyclops and Jean Grey's relationship, we don't care. No one cares about any of this stuff. And like another thing you said, Mark, is like a lot of this stuff was like, oh, picking up on threads from Apocalypse that I couldn't fucking remember what they were talking about.
Yep.
Like, when did the X-Men become like cheered and like loved? Like, did that happen off screen in between movies, or was that at the end of Apocalypse? I remember at the end of Apocalypse, they all had costumes that they never wore again.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden we start this movie and they're like public heroes. We missed all that for some reason. And then just petty things that bothered me, like Cyclops' visor.
What?
So Cyclops' visor is goofy.
Yes.
But it's fine when they're out in the field. But he doesn't wear it like just wandering around the school. Like, he wears ruby quartz sunglasses.
Oh, did he have the visor on the whole time? He didn't
literally wore the visor the entire movie. Like, you couldn't have gone to fucking Walmart and got him a pair of sunglasses and just CG'd him red. It made it impossible for me to even get into anything he was selling emotionally, because he just looked like a fucking goof whole movie. So that was tough too.
What about when he called the bad guy a motherfucker or whatever it was when he dropped the F-bomb?
Yeah. That was funny.
They got the one F-bomb in. I also, much like you, Mark, I hated the Aliens movie. Nyuk Nyuk or whatever her name was. Like, what was happening there? Like, what was that?
They didn't establish that she was an important alien either. Like, they tried to, they implied it throughout the movie, but when she's first introduced, you're not like, oh shit, there's a head alien. Like, she looks like all the other aliens.
The black guy was the head alien.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But somehow she's in charge of everything.
And then I did like the one shot that they had when the aliens first showed up, and that lady goes outside and her dog's barking.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just see their silhouettes kind of moving through the trees. Mm-hmm. Like, that was kind of creepy, and I liked that. But other than that, the aliens were so worthless. There was literally no point to them being in the movie. They could have been any other bad guys of any other type. It just was fucking worthless. I guess a lot of that landed on the cutting room floor.
Right. Yeah, I would say because there's supposed to be like a big battle between her and the aliens towards the end of the movie.
Right. So I kind of get that, but then I don't know what they should have done at that point, but it was pretty worthless. It just, I couldn't stand it. And then the movie just feels like it's 9 hours long on top of that. So.
Yeah, so I don't know if they knew that this was going to be the last one in the Fox series, if they were planning on making more, but it did go out with a whimper. I really felt it went out with a whimper.
They didn't, because this was filmed 2 years ago originally, before there was even talk of a merger. So
I think Disney looked at it and they were like, man, we got to do some damage control.
Probably. You know, what, there was two other things that I actually did really like about this. I thought it was cool that we saw Dazzler.
Yes.
Like, holy shit, they actually did it. They went for it. Good for them. And I did like Nightcrawler's kind of Red Dawn moment at the end of it, when the cop did die, and he realized he wanted to redeem the X-Men in the cop's eyes, and the cop did die, and then Nightcrawler suddenly just gets pissed and starts to go after everyone. I thought that was really cool, and his bamfing, those effects are just awesome. I love that.
But Mark, we established in Apocalypse that Dazzler was popular enough to have record albums available at the mall.
Yeah.
And which would mean she'd probably be older than the kids. So why was she performing at a backyard barbecue for 10 people?
Maybe as a favor to Professor Xavier. Maybe she was a lot like Jennifer Lawrence. Like if we got a close up of her, she'd be like, God, I really don't want to be here.
I don't know. This fucking timeline is so borked in these movies. I don't understand. Why did they have to make the movies everyone be a decade? Yeah. But then nobody ages.
You know, it's just so they don't have to explain a lot. They just say like in the past 10 years that we gave the president a X phone so that he can call Charles Xavier whenever he wants to. You know, they don't have to explain.
I just don't remember a time where they were ever on good terms. Like when the whole point of the X-Men was that they were fighting for equality, and then they're somehow worshipped.
I'm sure at some point in the last like 60 years, there's been a point where they were more public and superhero-y. But yeah, the best X-Men stuff always comes from them either being feared or on the run. So
right,
or hiding in Australia.
And isn't that where the original like 2000 X-Men movie started, with the government not liking them at all?
Right.
Yeah, so it's weird that they would have a point where they actually did like them.
Well, they did crash that train, so it probably wasn't cheap.
The one good thing is that we don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's right. No one cares. It's all getting rebooted. So, all right, that's pretty much X-Men. Dark Phoenix in a nutshell. Let's get a score out of 5 from you guys and wrap it up. What do you got, Aubrey?
I really, really wanted to like this movie so bad, but I'm gonna.
In 5 years, you'll be vindicated.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.75.
Jesus, you're an easy grader. All right, 2.75. Mark Ellis.
Yeah, I was really disappointed that Storm and Nightcrawler didn't have more to do. I think they have a whole B storyline that I think would have been really good in this movie. So, yeah, it's just average. I'm going to give it straight down the middle, 2.5. 2.5 out of 5, straight down the middle.
Okay, I was leaning towards 1.25 out of 5.
Yeah.
But I will give it an extra 0.25 for Sophie Turner being hot.
Seriously.
Leaving us at 1.5 out of 5, the same score that I gave to Godzilla: King of Monsters. It has not been a good few weeks of the movies for me.
Nope.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for X-Men at Fox completely. New Mutants might come.
We're never seeing that movie.
I can't even say it with a straight face. Sorry. So let's wrap up the show and get some recommendations for the listeners out there. Aubrey, what do you got?
What can I pick up off the floor and recommend? I got nothing. Everybody go pre-order Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Just do it. That's what I got.
Yes, exclusive to Switch. Cannot wait for that to drop. Marcellus, how about you?
Yeah, I don't really have anything either. A lot of stuff that I've seen this week has been pretty disappointing, so I'll just re-recommend what I did last week. It's a Netflix miniseries, 4 episodes, about an hour each. It's called When They See Us, directed by Ava DuVernay, and it's amazing, based on a true story, and it is emotionally crippling and very redeeming too. It's a awesome movie.
Cool. All right. Well, I will just continue to bang the drum for people to go to SoWizardPodcast.com, where they can find the podcast every week, links to all our social media accounts on the right-hand side of the page, movie reviews, streaming picks, so much more. SoWizardPodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcoin, and now on iHeartRadio, and just about anywhere else that you find your pods that you cast will be there. Check out our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search So Wizard Podcast. We got weekly new content on there coming direct from our boy Adam Wallyhawk. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/So Wizard Podcast. Monetarily support the show and get extra content and more. And don't forget to check out all the other shows in the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Check out hashtag GWALLSTARS, GW All-Stars on Twitter to find the rest of the shows. I will suggest people keep checking out Attack on Titan. Season 3 is finishing up, and it is big revelation time. Everything is paying off from the first 2 seasons. They finally got to the basement, and that was exciting. And it's just got about 3 episodes left, even though it is anime.
Why don't you understand that anime belongs in the trash?
I know. That's how good it is. I watch it. So
that's saying something.
Right. But that is all I've got. And that's going to do it this week for episode 253 of the So Wizard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey DiCarlo. My co-host, the queen of all nerds, Aubrey Litchfield.
I've got to protect my family.
It's about family. And the expert, Mr. Marquis Marcellus Reagans.
Yeah, I'm starting to think my X gene is never going to kick in at all. But here's hoping. Wakanda forever.
We'll see you next week. Good journey.